Young TV.
And the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown letter. Peace.
Young TV.
We live. We lit. We back at y'all with another banger, man. We got Skype Ape at the Northgate. He coming back with another one, man. This is important information. You want to get him in here. Hey, y'all, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you let them know Skype Ape is on right now, man. We about to get ready to crack heads at Twitch Craft. Now, I got all those videos and paperwork in the file. Just let me know when you want to get that pulled up. If you want to start there or whatever, you want to make your announcements first, whatever, you can go in. I'm going to mute mine.
No, what I pull up first is the first thing I want to do is go over the oath of office. And it's the video of the old general talking about oath of office.
Okay, let me.
So this is for the while you pulling those up, this is for the Patriots that don't know what's going on, but they know that something ain't right with the system, and they trying to figure it out. So we're gonna walk you through a couple of things. I might have you pull up a document off Google, but in a few. But this is there's a misunderstanding about the right of the people from the tribes of the land on the land. This we the people doctrine, constitutionally speaking, is talking about the people who have control to either reclaim their destiny or surrender it to a foreign power. Right? So all elected officials,
in effect,
all elected officials, I don't want that one yet. I tried to send them to you.
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to just go ahead. Go ahead, talk. Go ahead, keep talking. I'm going to find it, then I'll turn it on.
All right, so the oath of office is like a white piece of paper when you open it with some writing on it or typing.
You want to read the oath of office first? You want to read the oath of office first?
That's what first thing I want to go on. The video I want first is the old man, the old general. But the first document I want to pull up is the oath of office. And the oath of office is required for anybody holding any function of government. Right? Now, why this is important is because a lot of people are psychologically attached to the Constitution. That's the oath of office. You have to shrink it down or center it. Oh, never mind. That's me. That's me. That ain't you. Yeah. So everybody that take public office or perform as a public servant is required to take this oath. All military personnel, this oath right here is the oath to defend the Constitution. And there's a particular part in here that I want to lay emphasis on because it's the foundation to what we're talking about. Right? In the oath of office, start off, you say, I, then your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true and faithful allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the order of the President of the United States and the order of the officers appointed over me according to the regulations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. So this is the military's oath of office. In whatever other branch, they have a similar oath to support the Constitution and defend it against foreign and domestic enemies. Something happened with the election of Obama. A foreigner got put in office when Obama became president.
Go ahead.
When a foreigner is instilled into office, it immediately sends the upper brass of the military in security mode against a hostile takeover of a nation by outside force. Right? Did you find the video yet?
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me get the video.
So I want y'all to see the passion in his face when this guy talk about the oath of office.
It's not.
That's not it.
Okay, it's got to be one of these then. Okay, it's got to be this one.
The very word secrecy is repugnant.
Hold on, not that.
In a free.
Nope, that's not it. That's not. Ain't ready for that one yet either.
I should have labeled them.
No, we do them buzzer beaters though. It's that buzzer beater. It's that 3-point at the last minute. We got you.
We don't take an oath to a tribe. We don't take an oath to a religion. We don't take an oath to a king.
You see it right here, right, Rod?
Yeah.
We don't.
You see it right here, Rod?
Yeah. Rewind it back and let it play.
All right, I'm gonna play it. All right.
We don't take an oath to a tribe. We don't take an oath to a religion. We don't take an oath to a king or to a tyrant or a dictator. And we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator. We don't take an oath to an individual. We take an oath to the Constitution, and we take an oath to the idea that is America, and we're willing to die to protect it. Every soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, Guardian, and Coast Guardsman, each of us commits our very life to protect and defend that document, regardless of personal price.
Okay, now, when the military first became aware that we was under attack and trying to be taken over by a foreign outside agency, was the assassination of JFK. But I'm going to tell you the dirty hand behind the hand that's pushing this game. But we ain't got there yet. So to show you, listen to what JFK said about the methods that they use. And you go to the JFK speech now, Elder.
I got you.
So the methods, he said that they using certain resources, and then he named them. I want you to listen.
That shows all the see that.
Obstacle is the way, Elder.
Here we go, y'all.
And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society.
Let me bring it back. It's that JFK, y'all.
That's it.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society.
Pause.
And we are, as a people, inherently and historically
Pause,
opposed to secret society, to secret oaths, and to secret.
Okay, now he's telling you. Now look at this close. That picture right there. He's telling you. Yep. The secret society is trying to take over. They trying to usurp government, and now he finna tell you what they doing to usurp the government and undermine the Constitution. And this is what activates all of these military men into action and galvanize them around figuring a solution to save the people from over here, from the ones that's trying to insert their tyrannical government and rule. And I'm going to show you where to look to find the proof of the dirty players. But let's go. Let's listen what JFK say.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice. It is a system which has conscripted vast human material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. That is why the Athenian lawmaker Solon decreed it a crime for any citizen to shrink from controversy. But I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people, confident that with your help, man will be what he was born to be, free and independent.
Okay, now, he's telling you about the war strategy and the rollout of the war. He's already aware that the war is taking place and who's involved. Right? So he's telling you what they using: military, intelligence, scientific, and economic means.
The whole nine. Shit, that's what they use. The whole 9 yards.
No, that ain't the whole 9. That's just 5.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, now, the Skull and Bones Society is conquistador pirates. Right? If you pull up the symbol for the Skull and Bones Society, it's going to give you a skull and crossbones, and it's going to give you the number 33. So how do we know what we looking at? They got a guy named Dulles, who was the director of the CIA. He was the one who recruited George Herbert Walker Bush from Yale because of his control he had over the fraternity brothers in Skull and Crossbones Society. Right. So when LBJ, who was passing, and J. Edgar Hoover, who was also passing, they having phone calls about constructing the story around the JFK assassination so they can control the narrative. Now, this is what most people don't know. Find out where George Bush was. He was there. He was in town on unofficial business, and his CIA cutout company, oil company, that they used to create his itinerary as an operative. He ain't the director of the CIA yet. Right? Now, as he's being recruited by Allen Dulles, he's overseeing on behalf of J. Edgar Hoover and LBJ the assassination and the cover-up of the assassination of JFK. Most people don't know that JFK had got wind of an assassination attempt, and it was a double that was in the car, a lookalike. They still using lookalikes in our face, right? Now, when the military discovered the assassination plot on JFK, they contact KGB because they are accusing Lee Harvey Oswald, who actually defected to Russia at one point. We always hear about Russians defecting to America, but we rarely hear about the Americans that defected to Russia, right? Their story has no value to us over here unless it inspires people to repatriate back to Europe, counterproductive to the aims and the goals of the agenda. The agenda shows itself as it rolls out to a conclusion or a finale, right? So George Bush started making arrangements to overtake the political establishment by selecting key hand-picked people to groom under him to become certain political figures. So if you go back and you do the research on Hillary Rodham Clinton, you will find out she was a Republican and she was a secretary that worked with Bush, and that it was a young Democrat that was charismatic coming out of Arkansas that was his boy. And we know what that means, right? So while his illegitimate son or his adopted son is coming up, he tell Hillary, you have to become a Democrat because you can't have a Democrat and a Republican in the same house, and you want to be president. So Hillary switched to Democrat because it looked more like a patriarchal control if she switched Democrat, and it'll also give George Bush somebody in the Democratic Party on two tiers. Okay, now, while this is going on, the FBI is falling out of favor with the office of the president under Richard Millie Mouth Nixon, Watergate. That was overseen by George Bush and the CIA on behalf of the FBI. Right. And that's why that brother that explodes the plot never worked nowhere, and McDonald's wouldn't hire him. So anyway, what's taking place is the reaction to this was, we know that they trying to take over. We know that they already took over the banks in 1913 with the Federal Reserve and the Federal Reserve Act. We already know that the people are not responsible for the debt, according to Senate Bill, I think it's 192 from the bankruptcy. And we know that they're not going to never tell the people that they stealing from them by giving them credits under the cause of fiat, right? This go all the way back to 1776. It goes back to the death of Crispus Attucks and the secret oaths and the secret activity that was done in the Masonic lodges that would put everybody into a stupor, right? So now, if you go back to Prince Hall, why did Prince Hall form Prince Hall Masons? You remember, Elder? Do you know the story?
Man, I got my own perspective on it, but what they said is because black people wasn't getting accepted. To make a long story short, Nubians wasn't getting accepted until white people lodged. That's one like the overall from what I heard from them. But I got my own perspective. That who Prince Hall was.
Let me ask this: do you know why the mob started running numbers?
They stole it from us. I don't know exactly why, but I know they saw how the Queen was getting money off of it. The Queen Sinclair, Stephanie Sinclair. I don't know if the Queen was the first one to start running numbers, but I know the Queen had it on lock and hard.
Let me give you a little insight.
Go ahead,
Prince Hall was an apprentice under a York Rite Freemason from America. As he observed him, he recognized the games they was playing. Right? And these are called lodge games. You play it in the lodge, and you go out and try to make it happen in the world. The only way you can play the game is you have to have a lodge represent you. If you don't have a lodge to represent you, you can't get in the game. And now you permanently ostracized from any control mechanisms of the land.
Yeah, they call them clandestine. They call you clandestine when you don't got them.
So he recognizing the conjures being used. And he know that if we have an opportunity to enter into these conjure games, we the coldest, them old Mississippians. Right? So we were focused on the Gullah Wars when they say, hey, we got another plan, a ceasefire agreement. Everybody go back home. The everybody go back home order is gave to us in the fairy tale history books as a industrial revolution mass migration to industrial areas. That's not what happened. We went home. Right? Because only from going back home can you see the whole setup of the game now. And now everybody got a part to play. West Coast tribes got a part to play. Great Plains tribes got parts to play. Right? Can you pull up the FEMA continuity of government cover on Google? It'd be faster to look it up on Google. The reason I want you to see this is because this is what we've been using as an ability to see into the political wheeling and dealings, right? Once you know how the machine run, you can sabotage it in any part of the mechanism. You can put on a weak belt. You can make something fall into the gears and jam the gears, right? And sometimes in the chess game, it's better to make it seem like you weak than to make your partner, your opponent, know how strong you really are. You find it out?
I'm pulling it up. Oh, you probably can't see my screen. Oh shit! Hold on. Click on. Let's see. Shit on the froze now.
Hey, comments is crazy. We ain't got to the Chevron doctrine yet, Josephine White.
The FEMA National Continuity Program (NCP) is the National Center for.
Can you pull up the cover of the document? Go to images.
Okay. Which one is it?
That third one in the middle at the top.
Right here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Can I save it in that file? Blow it up. Okay, we're gonna save it in the raw haze tape file. One we just dropped.
Okay, now remember I did a video called the U.S. versus
I'm working on that
us,
some on that last tape too.
Cowboys, Outlaws, and Indians. Right.
Okay, here we go. Right
First, I want to show y'all this, because this is important because people don't know that the tribal nations is involved in the transfer of power back to the people. And the tribes is going to have to reorganize in order to administer government on the land. Look like that sucker don't want to blow up.
There you go, right there. That shit gonna froze, freezing.
That's not it.
Yeah, so they got tornado like disaster.
That's not the right one.
Water
it's
flood.
That's not the right document, Elder. That's go back to Google. That's not the right one.
Of how they supposed to come back and help the community as far as natural disasters.
Yeah, that's something different. That's not what I'm talking about. That's a different document.
This shit is true. Okay, all right. Damn, it was freezing you.
Yeah. They're making it hard for you to pull up stuff today, boy.
Continuity operations. It might be this.
It's the continuity of government.
Control, but
it's gonna say continuity government on it.
Okay.
That's the model to tell you the circular.
Oh, okay. So they got the 12. So that this FEMA thing connected to them 12 Federal Reserve banks.
No, that's something different. The Federal Reserve banks, well, they're 12. There should be only 10 FEMA regions.
Okay, yeah, it's 10 FEMA regions. That's what it's right. 1,
right.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Which is going to be the first new lines of demarcation is going to be represented by those 10 regions.
Uh-huh.
But that ain't what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the continuity of government. The one with just passed, the one with the White House on it. I mean, with the state building on it. Scroll up.
Right.
Right there. Yeah. It's blue and white right there. Yeah. I think that's the right one.
Right? Similar.
It's similar, but it's different.
That's it?
Yeah.
Let me save it. All right, let me save it. Hey, y'all hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, man. We're about to crack heads and twist caps with Skype paper at the Northgate, man. We still got to read that enemy of the state thing, you know. That's what's gonna trip me out. That's what gonna trip everybody out. How these, like I said, we enemies. We the enemy.
Yeah, most people don't know that the federal government declared war on the people. And this is what I'm trying to unravel for them today with some documentation to show it.
Hey, Rod, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. I can hear you now.
Damn, man, what the heck? Okay. I wonder why they let me pull it up. Let me try it one more time, man. They try to slow us down. They know we on to them, Rod. We on to them again.
You know how I go, Elder. So the
Every
reason
time
why
we get on they tail, you know what I'm saying, like that blue healer.
the obstacle is the way. So look, the
Yes,
reason
sir.
why we pulling this up so y'all can see the
Hold
government
on, just
is
let me
working
pull
with
up.
tribal leadership
Look at this.
that most of us don't
Okay.
even know is leadership
Look at
of the
this.
tribes of the land.
Oh, let me click.
They tripping, Elder.
Click right here. Hold on, let me click right here. Can you see it, Rod?
It ain't come back up on the screen yet. Is the on the screen is buffering. Go back to me and you, then click back to it. Maybe that'll work.
Can you hear me, Rod?
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh
Go
yeah,
this.
they messing with the feed, Elder.
Hey, y'all. What you got, man? Hold on. Let me get out of this. Hey, y'all, what the feed look like, man? Cause they doing something. Whatever you about to tell us.
I'm
Come
about
on,
to show
man.
you.
Let's try this again. Cause the chat like it just stopped. Yo, Nas back. Hey, y'all, can y'all still hear us out there? They cutting us out. Everybody good? Let's try this again, man. We going at the boys' top, man. The black hand. They tried to run, but they can't run. Oh, they don't want us to show this. Look at it. They ain't pulling up. Can you see the screen, Rod?
Yeah, there you go. You see where it say for state?
Boy, look at it.
It was up.
Okay, all right. Okay, we go back. Okay, they go back. All right,
Okay, now you
go
see it. It's
ahead.
a guide to continuity of government
Go ahead.
for state, local, tribal, and territorial governments. Right? And so the Constitution, once it was usurped, it renders the right of the tribes to reclaim the land because the next constitution that becomes active is the Iroquois Constitution because it's never been overturned. But you have to
Right, that's the
have,
first one they was talking about.
right. So you got to have a foundational instrument to stand on. They foundational instrument the settlers was standing on was the discovery doctrine. Okay, now let's go to where the government said that we was the people they was at war with. Now remember JFK's speech when we show y'all this. That one right there. This is out of Black's Law Dictionary, an excerpt.
Really gonna do this? Yeah, I know it. Look at this. That's what I'm gonna do. I can go over like this. They gonna try to run this game. Okay,
There
here
you
we
go.
go.
All right, now it says military pertaining to. Oh, we blew up too big now. Oh, there pertaining to the war or to the army. Concerned with war, Black's Law, 6th edition. The note says the Amendatory Act to the Trading with the Enemy Act of October the 6th, 1917, namely the Emergency Banking Relief Act of March the 9th, 1933, defined the American people as the enemy legally of the United States government because of the U.S. bankruptcy through which the private international Federal Reserve System became the government. So this is who we was fighting with. They telling you the private international Federal Reserve System became the government. Creditors of the United States. See ramifications of bankruptcy, the nature of Federal Reserve notes. Right? Look what it said.
Tapes out already.
It said the Emergency Banking Relief Act of March the 9th, 1933 defined the American people as the enemy legally of the United States government because of the U.S. bankruptcy through which the private international Federal Reserve System became the government.
Go ahead.
Right? Let's go to the next document. Bankster thieves. Now, this is talking about the banks, the Federal Reserve. It is an established fact that the United States federal government has been dissolved by Emergency Banking Act, March the 9th, 1933.
Right.
48 Statute 1, Public Law 89-719, declared by President Roosevelt being bankrupt and insolvent. House Joint Resolution 192, 73rd Congress in session, June the 5th, 1933, joint resolution to suspend the gold standard. So the necessary thing of sovereignty is to have your own wealth.
Right.
And abrogate the gold clause dissolved the sovereign authority of the United States and the official capacity of all United States governmental officers and departments, and is further evidence that the United States federal government exists today in name only. United States Congressional Record, March 17th, 1993, volume 33. That's where you find it at.
Yep. I got all this information down for them too already in those Big Mama tapes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now, this is dealing with House Joint Resolution 192, replace common law with maritime and admiralty law for financial obligations. That put us in what was called salvage status. Selling government securities is selling stock in the government. The day HJR 192 was signed, the Treasury offered a new governmental securities without the traditional payable in gold clause. That means they rewrote documents and took this out of the document and kept the rest of the document intact.
Damn.
Increasing the money supply. This is how inflation is robbing us. The government aimed to increase the money supply and ease deflationary pressure by compelling citizens to exchange their gold holdings for Federal Reserve notes. Right? This is actually the second of the two. HJR 192 is considered a pivotal moment in U.S. monetary history. Some petitions call for a government audit to investigate the consequences of HJR 192 and assess its impact on the and assess its impact on the economy. Right. Go to the next one. Okay, now this tell you this was the first part. House Joint Resolution 192 was passed by Congress on June the 5th, 1933 during the Great Depression. It had a number of significant effects. Some of them we just went over.
Yeah.
These are other ones. Suspending the gold standards. HJR 192 suspended the gold standard and made it illegal to pay debts with gold. prohibit gold hoarding. That means you couldn't own your own gold no more. That means that you either had to surrender it to the government or you can go to prison. HJR 192 also made it illegal to hoard gold bullion, coins, bars, and certificates.
So pretty much robbery.
Yeah, they using this to systematically rob us through the fractional reserve practices of the Federal Reserve Bank.
Is the Constitution
right now?
Is it
This is taking us back to when the secondary Constitution was brought about. The reason why you need to know about the secondary Constitution, because you had the Constitution that represented we the people, and then you have the one that represent the corporate fiction of the we the people.
Right.
So she's been explaining to you how we ended up getting two constitutions. It's gonna take us back to the money.
All right. So
That's
like, before I press play, can I ask you just one question? All right, so the two constitutions they mentioned is the first one is the Iroquois Confederation Constitution.
No.
Okay.
They don't acknowledge that because it was the government in place before the advancement of the U.S. Constitution.
Right. The Republic, yeah.
Right. Once they bifurcated the system, now they got two governments running at the same time that look the same, but they're totally different. They did that to deliberately confuse us. We only got to listen to about 3 minutes of this, if that.
I want to press play.
Is the Constitution that we know today in effect, or is there a different Constitution that you claim?
Unfortunately, we are being snookered by the Congress because every 2 years they reintroduce a state of martial law, and we are not under our first Constitution. We are under this second secret Constitution. What that Constitution provides is that our tax dollars are going to pay interest to the Federal Reserve. They're not paying for any of the services that we need in our country. Instead, where are we getting the money? We're getting it from the poppy fields in Afghanistan and the drug trade. That's how we're financing our country. This is a travesty.
Now, you mentioned that the secret Constitution allows for the interest to be paid to the Federal Reserve. But isn't that the Federal Reserve Act that we know that was established in 1913 when it was passed on Christmas Eve? So where does that law fall into place?
You'll remember that President Lincoln was assassinated by a Jesuit.
Mm-hmm.
That was in order to prevent the greenback dollars that Lincoln had issued directly by the Treasury Department. And so what happened was the bank of that day was then able to continue to earn interest on the currency of the United States. That was why he was assassinated. And the reason why we had that second Constitution enacted in 1871 is that is when the Revolutionary War debts fell due. As a matter of fact, one day I opened my mail and somebody mailed me the financing statement for those debts that, together with the unpaid interest on the debts, had accrued to the trillions of dollars.
Now, the concept of a secret Constitution, some people might cry foul there. I mean, I don't believe a word you're saying because I've never heard of such a thing. How can those claims be substantiated?
Two ways. The first is that I will show you the minutes of the meeting of the Patriots who met and looked at the State House records in Carolina when that secret Constitution was enacted. And I can show you the financing statements for the Revolutionary War debt. That was the reason we got that second secret Constitution.
So is that second secret Constitution, who is it in favor of? Is it in favor of the people or the corporate United States?
It's in favor of the banks. It's certainly not in favor of the people. What happens when you have a child is your child is given a Social Security number? They estimate how many taxes your child is going to pay over his or her lifetime. And they take that birth certificate and they issue it on the capital markets and they earn money on it.
Okay, you can stop there.
Okay,
so now she's talking about the birth certificate bonds that came in as a result of the calling in the debt from the Civil War, but she's not telling you what is the secondary constitution. You remember what it was, Elder?
Hey, nah, Rod, drop it on me, man, because I'm trying to put you. Because I just asked you about the Eric Cohen, and then I heard about when they did the 14th Amendment and the 13th Amendment and all that. When they did that, that pretty much made the whole thing.
Those are all Bill of Rights.
Okay.
That's supposed to control how the government treated us.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The secondary constitution was the one written in the blood of Crispus Attucus that they used to move the capital from Philadelphia to Rome.
Go ahead.
And rename it Washington, D.C.
I'm with you now. Okay.
The secondary.
Well, I'm going to ask you, this shit get deep because, all right, so that's the real reason why the debt never could be paid off, because American people can't never pay it off because they don't got no money. They don't got no gold to pay it off. They only can use fiat, and fiat can't pay off the debt. So that's why the debt still just going up and up and up and up. It never goes down. We never really paid nothing on no debt because we don't got nothing. They robbed us in 1933 with the HJ 92 joint.
Okay, so the remedy is the Federal Reserve. Once we discover their fraud,
okay,
we capture the Federal Reserve for fraud, right? Okay. And they use military to do it because the civilian sector is controlled by those same people that's trying to take us over.
Okay.
This is what Donald Trump was doing when they was talking about draining the swamp.
Okay.
Right. You got the video of Donald Trump?
Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
So the reason why I want to point this out is in the history of U.S. politics, no president before or after Donald J has ever had a military presence like his. She talking about the secondary constitution too. Yeah. You might as well let that play.
That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna let it play since it was already online. Okay.
We've been screwed again, you guys. Okay, let me tell you how. Did you guys know that there are 2 constitutions? There are. And guess what? The one we're using is not benefiting us. So let me tell you how this happened. Back in 1871, the United States became a corporation, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
That's where it started. When they created this corporation, which was basically, that's where DC, the District of Columbia, came out of. This corporation basically took our original constitution, which gave the rights to the people, the freedom to the people, and tossed it in the trash, never to be seen from again, and rewrote it and made their constitution, which is now basically what we go by. The difference was very, very tricky. What they did was, one of them is called the Constitution for the United States of America. The other one is called the Constitution of the United States of America.
Wow.
That little word change made all the difference in the world. How do you ask? Well, basically, when they rewrote the new Constitution, it gave them all the power. It gave them the power over us. For instance, in our original Constitution, the one that is of the United States of America, we the people have a right to travel freely in our personal vehicles on public highways and roads. We don't need licenses. We don't need insurance. Yeah. We don't need any of that. We can travel freely. According to their Constitution, which we go by, we now have to have registrations, insurance, pay taxes in order to drive on a public highway. That's one instance. If you think that's bad, there's a lot more.
Okay.
Okay, now that became known as the Chevron doctrine, right? And the Chevron doctrine was what was recently overturned by the Supreme Court that stripped all of the executive powers from the corporations that was acting like they was the law.
Look who in there with him. Oh, look at that boy. That's the devil right there, boy. Tell it.
Okay, so
Let's see right here, Rod.
Let it play.
Today's ceremony, however, has very special meaning.
Look at the military.
We are not merely transferring power from one administration to another or from one party to another, but we are transferring power from Washington, D.C., and giving it back to you, the people. For too long, a small group in our nation's capital has reaped the rewards of government while the people have borne the cost. Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed.
So what he's talking about is how they systematically siphoned the wealth with inflation and was reaping all of the rewards through the Federal Reserve, who kept the politicians in power. Right? So the military selected Donald Trump, right? Because he was the best out of all of the devils they could pick. He was the best. He was the best devil.
Yeah.
Because he was the what they call the anti-hero.
Yeah.
Right. He do the right thing all of the wrong ways. But anyway, so they put him in power and they tracked the vote. They discovered and caught the vote hacker in Italy in real time while he was hacking the vote, and he was being videotaped. His keystrokes was being recorded, and they had a video of what he was looking at on the screen while he was hacking the vote. Then he turned around and told all of the dirty players that was involved that he was aware of. But some of them led to other dirty players too. This was Joe draining the swamp.
Okay.
Right. So now they let the Joe Biden stage show political satire play out in order to keep the people occupied, so they are unaware of this global World War IV going on.
Go ahead.
World War IV conscripting agencies from galactic locations. I don't know if they bringing them in through portals or ships, but it don't matter to me. As long as they get the dirty players out, I don't care.
Go ahead.
Okay, now they rerunning the same satire. The aim and the agenda is to make Kamala miserably fail to represent the fall of the whore of Babylon in Revelations as the new Jerusalem descends to the earth, according to their biblical narrative.
Okay.
They plan the biblical narrative out as the stage show.
Okay.
Right. This is why she had the pearly necklace and the purple sweater on, like Lisa in The Simpsons.
Right.
So you will know to investigate what is that. Right. And then when you get to Revelations, you will see it right in there. Right. So now you know they playing a political satire out. You know she gonna fail miserably. 45 is gonna become 47. And then that's going to make him become the 19th.
Go ahead.
Sacred seal on the capstone. Masonically, Masonically is the sealing of the Royal Ark degree.
Go ahead.
Red House, Blue House united under the purple ark.
Uh-huh.
And the ark is the covenant. And the one who can figure out the covenant is the one who's supposed to receive the ark.
Go ahead. I got a question right there, man. Okay, so with everything changing plays, changing hands, and the dirty players, so you don't think it's gonna be an election, or you think because they're saying election is a couple days away? We got 40 million votes already for this or that.
Look,
I remember Go ahead.
all of that is a stage show.
Go ahead.
It doesn't matter if they actually have the vote or if they act like they haven't the vote. All the vote is to determine how many people is aware of the farce.
Right.
When the votes start to dwindle, that means the consciousness of the people begin to see through the charade.
Right.
When they stop falling for the banana in the tailpipe, then the exhaust can breathe freely. Right. So we looking at the satire play out. Look, now you've seen all of that military that was around Trump. This is from his inauguration. If you go to his inauguration, you're going to see more military personnel coming out to greet him on the stage than any head of state in the history of the country. It's never happened before. When Joe Biden's stage show coronation took place, the real Joe Biden was already in Gitmo. The January the 6th was just to occupy the state building, the Capitol, and to put a land flag behind the Admiralty flag, and that's how you get out of Admiralty jurisdiction. You sink their battleship. Right? And then the next thing we had to do was the Pope was put on notice in Canada. He rescinds the discovery doctrine, which takes away all of the conquering powers' jurisdictional claim of the Vatican to settle our land as their home. It nullifies all of their contracts.
I got that too, bro. I can play that too if you want me to.
Through the poison tree doctrine. Right? If y'all go back to, remember when they was at the old man funeral and everybody was getting those envelopes?
Yep.
They sanitized the internet because right after that, there was a Barack Obama speech. And he brought Michelle on stage with him, which was uncommon. He's normally on stage alone. And they standing there and he's talking about Trump persecuting his political oppositions with the court system. He was talking about the Admiralty courts that was running the JAG, that was running the tribunals for the traitors that was caught. And Obama's thing was he wanted him to plead his case to the people and let them vote, but they committing war crimes against the people who was oblivious to it the whole time. So Obama's speech, you can't find it now. Well, I haven't been able to find it. So if anybody find it, come back and post it in the comments so the people in the future can locate the speech that I'm talking about. But he's complaining about Trump and the top brass using the JAG in order to get rid of the domestic enemies. The reason why his birth certificate, Barack Obama birth certificate, was a big deal was because he was born in a laboratory.
Yeah.
And he was born on another landmass. He's not from here. But he was one of the children that the old man Bush had control over through CIA connections to Lolo Santoro.
That's right.
Right. Now you got to remember, if you go back to the other side of the Bush family, they Prescotts.
That's right.
The Prescott family have executives on the board of directors for the Federal Reserve.
That's right.
So this was the Bush connection to the Federal Reserve's mission to conquer us and usurp us and reclaim the land. All this stuff is verifiable and can be checked out. I'm not making none of it up.
Yeah,
I didn't even write none of that stuff. It was already wrote. I'm just showing y'all where it was at. What we got next on the receipt book? I want to try to get through all of these.
The Democratic Republican Party was one of the first political organizations in the United States founded by
I ain't mean to send you that one.
Jefferson in 1792. Jefferson
I ain't mean to send you that one, but since we got it on here,
this guy.
So hold on before you play him. So the Brunson case is about oaths of office, right? The reason why it's important is because the infiltrators have 0 oath of office on file.
That's right. We're whisper cats.
Right. So if they don't have an oath of office on file, that tells the military who the imposters are. Just trying to take over the government. Now, we've been knowing since JFK of the takeover attempt. Get the book Behold the Pale Horse. In there, you'll see a section where he talks about the old man Bush before the first World Trade Center. I was like 90 or 91, could have been 89, had a Senate Select Committee give him war powers that made him a king. King George I of the United States of America is how William Cooper wrote it. He wrote it like that to bring your attention to titles of nobility under the Constitution. So when that made him king, he got to give us 3 knocks in order to allow us to defend ourselves from the imminent hostile takeover. So the Brunson case is about those ones with no oath of office, and it's also about not investigating Donald Trump's claims that the votes was tampered with and just closing the case arbitrarily. The Senate and the Congress, this is what they're talking about. But he's going to give you some insight into it, so let's let him play.
There's also another Brunson Brothers lawsuit that's making it to the Supreme Court. The federal court and the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals have completely adjudicated it, of course, not in favor of Brunson. Roland Brunson is the petitioner. So Darren and Roland have been working on this. And it looks like it's going to be sent to the court probably the first of next week. And this is going to be an extremely unusual case because 3 of the defendants happen to be 3 United States Supreme Court justices. This was completely adjudicated in the federal court and the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals, and now it's going on to the Supreme Court of the United States. The purpose of these cases is 1, to raise awareness, 2, to gain unity amongst the people, giving people a knowledge of the Constitution in a useful, applicable way, and 3, showing the justices that we're waking up to the Constitution, waking up to the fact that the oath required in Article 6 is supposed to be binding, and immunity that the U.S. attorneys have been fighting and defending all of the members of Congress that refused a 10-day pause for an investigation, is showing that that immunity position is a corrupt position. It's unconstitutional. So it's about awareness, and it's about the Constitution, and it's about a unity. And so thank you for your support. You go to LloydBrunson.com and see this new petition for redress of grievances that should be on that website within the next few days. Thank you.
Hey, Rod, I noticed that when I went through the Trump thing, and Trump said that he was after the aristocrats because they really were foreigners to the Constitution, and they was under another. They haven't took no oath. So he said he was after them guys. They call them deep state guys.
Yep. That's also known as the Black Hand. They all working hand in hand for those people from Switzerland. Okay. You got to remember, all of the money always go back to Switzerland. Every country. All of the money go back to Switzerland.
The Constitution.
That's it. That's all the receipts. Yeah, that's all the receipts. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a couple questions too, man. I know some people got questions because this shit right here, this is getting good. This is getting real good.
Right.
Now, being dead, okay, this is my first question because you just brought me I've been writing them down. All right, the first question, the national debt. All right, we know it's like 30-something trillion.
They owe that to us.
Okay, they owe that to us, all right?
We the ones that they owe the debt to. That's what the debt clock has been calculating the whole time. We thinking that they talking about they in debt to some foreign entity. They in debt to us because we charging interest on the wealth that they stealing, and they cutting back the interest on the payments that they giving. That's where you end up with all of that. That's why I've been telling y'all that the national debt is going to become the national debit in order to build the infrastructure for the new system. Right, it's going to be the money for government to operate and to do government related projects like road work. Ain't gonna be no utility bills because that was already ours, and they stole it and reworked it and found out how to monetize it. They remember everything that's our culture. They monetized or villainized.
Or copyright that shit.
That's monetizing it. That's all monetizing it.
What?
So anything they couldn't monetize, they criminalized it and made it illegal.
Right.
And remember, anything, a license is permission to do something otherwise illegal, lest you have permission by licensing of an authority.
Yeah.
Right. And it was all this is adopted from the old tribal traditions is you can't just come hunt on somebody else's land.
Right. Right.
You got to get permission from the owner to go hunt his land. Right. And that's how you keep peace. You have courtesy and respect and understanding for your neighbor, because you don't want him to just come willy-nilly hunting all your stuff.
Right.
Right. We're living off the fat of the land first.
Right.
Before we ever get to a city.
Right. Right.
Right. So the national debt, when the new system activates, becomes the national debt becomes a national debit.
Right.
And then we will be able to monitor how to replenish the resource, which is the national debit, how to keep a sufficient amount of money in it to keep everything running for a very, very long time.
So did these suckers get? I mean, we heard they tried to run, hide, and they compounds. They owe us all this money, robbed us for all this stuff. How do we get that? Like I see that Trump doing something and going after the guys, but how do we know for sure that we got some get back for this? I mean, we can see it, you can see it, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like,
okay, so look. It's like you playing a game of war with your friends. In a game of war, you know the war is over because either it's got to be publicly announced so everybody know that the game over.
Right.
Right. This has to be publicly announced too. They got to come out with the tribunal TV so you can see the dirt that the dirty players did. Who they was connected to, and they're gonna trace them all the way back to some nappy head black ass niggas from Europe.
Right. Right.
And
you know,
and I hate to say it, conquistadors.
A lot of them got the L on the end of their name. That's the
conquistadors, Huguenots, gents, the gentry, which is the nobility, which is the adventurous prince club. Right, when the prince want to go out with his homeboys and raise hell on the land, he got to have his club, his crew, his gang. Hey, right?
Yeah.
And that's why that's what they villainizing was natural for people to do in order to villainize the people who do what people naturally do. And at the same time, you just controlling your people doing the same thing.
Hey, you know,
you keeping it concealed with secrecy.
A long time ago, when I first got into the moral science temple and I was studying the moral science, one day I had a debate with this white dude on my job, right? And the white dude said, because that's when I was calling myself Mustafa El Bay. And he said, the white dude said, He said, "Why would you want to name yourself after some people that robbed you?" And I couldn't get it, man. I got into it with the dude. I thought he was jerking my chain or something. The white dude told me, he said, "Why would you want to name yourself after some people that robbed y'all?" And I never did put it together till you came along and said, "Oh shit, you know, these dirty Moors." I heard about them, but like when you really broke it down, you know. But I thought that white dude was jerking my chain. He really was telling me about the dirty Moors right then. He was telling me it's the dudes you talk saying you naming yourself after really the dudes that robbed y'all.
Right. Well, a lot of the pale faces knew what was going on because a lot of the pale faces was passing. So when they see us reacting to the pale face and they know what's really taking place, they say, "I don't know why you mad at me. It was your own people that did it to you. Them motherfuckers look like us. They ain't us."
Right.
But when you get to the George Washington Conjure, that's when you figure out. And then, like, you could go to Constitution in the George Washington Memorial, Masonic Memorial, and you will see that the ink is fading. That means the contract is weakening. That means the fraud that was done, the conjure magic that was done to seal the minds of the people is fading off now. They're waking up because the magic is fading. Because the blood is fading, which means that you've used up enough of the energy to hold it in place. You don't have enough energy no more. As the blood fades, so does the potency. Right? And the older the blood is, it breaks down faster in the open. So when you have that conjure magic constitution on public display, because you can't keep it a secret, you got to keep it what's called an open secret. Right? It's open to the public, but you don't know what it means. So you come in here and you lay eyes on it so you can build strength to the trance that y'all in. So we're going to put it on display for you to see it. You reverse engineer the conjures to get out of the infinity loop, to break free. The problem is very few people would do what was required to break free because the level of study to understand the condition is long and is laborious and is arduous. And the average person don't want to absorb themselves in that level of learning in modern times because they could be making money, taking care of their families as best they can.
Hey,
right?
so go ahead. You ain't done. I'll ask you another question. Go ahead.
So when you go back, I forgot to send this actor, but he was saying Marlon Brando he was also a mulatto. But he was talking about they don't want to get an education because he was telling us we got to educate ourselves out of condition. They took it as a racist statement to perpetuate it. Right?
Right.
But if you take the racist connotation out, because you know he a nigga too, he's telling you a critical piece to the puzzle.
Right.
Right. And the critical piece to the puzzle is if you don't educate yourself out the condition, you will never be able to get from under your oppressor because he'll always be smarter and more studious than you.
All right.
So what's the phrase? Readers are leaders. Why? Because they got so many different perspectives from which they look at a situation that they're not trapped into a paradigm by taking sides with a lesser energy.
Right.
Right. But the regular people will take sides and become staunch defendants of something they don't know nothing about until somebody done told them. We don't know if Muhammad ever existed for real. We don't know if Jesus ever existed for real.
Right.
Right. And somebody can be a direct descendant of them standing next to you, but you can't prove that they existed. If you can't prove they existed, now you have to change how you view it in order for you to reap the greatest benefit from the confusion.
Go ahead.
So you say, okay, let's just say it's not true. Let's read it as an energy and let's see if it's got a flow to it that will allow me to see something different using the same information. And then your brain will automatically start trying to figure out how to do that shit. So now your brain figuring out how to formulate this into a useful outlet for who you are naturally without the influence of taking sides in the dogma.
Right. Right. And my next question for you, because it's right here for the Patriots, they had this question. They saying since there's two constitutions, which one are they swearing an oath to? Are they swearing an oath to the first one, the American, or the United States? Because I think it mentions in that oath of the United States.
Okay, look. The one that is the Constitution of the United States. It's the United States dictating it.
Okay.
Right? Wait a minute. No, that's backwards. It's the people dictating the Constitution to the government on how the government rules. When you say Constitution for the United States, now it's the Constitution for them to exercise jurisdiction over you. It's a shell game. They just switched the shell, turned it around on you real quick on the what they call them, the words that connect the sentence on a conjunction.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got you trapped in on a conjunction, hooked up to the wrong boxcar by accident.
So based on what we coming up with now, based on we starting to getting this thing pretty laid down off of the last amount of tapes we've been putting out for so long. Do you think that next year that we might go through a spell where when the government is ripped away from the American people as far as the support, and that thing, do you think we'll be a downtime where the people that's not prepared might panic and start looting and doing crazy, like shit hit the fan type of scenario? where we got to be prepared for that for a short spell while the government change hands back to the tribunal? Would it be a spell of chaos? Because we talked about the school shootings last week, and I said, "Dang, Rod just mentioned it," and they were just talking about, somebody else was talking about it as well right after you did it, and I was like, "Oh, so a lot of people are already seeing this on the land."
Mm-hmm.
So you think that'll be part of they kick us in the nuts as they scratch and crawl out of here as we kick them out?
The mass casualty events, they have to cause them on their way out to create as much chaos. It's figuratively, there's a fish in the water and the stream is clear. And you trying to creep up on the fish. As soon as the fish take off, the sediment on the bottom of the water make the water cloudy.
Go ahead.
That's the chaos in the aftermath of the escape attempt. But let's say he on your hook now. He can't go nowhere. That's where they at. Now they just splashing around in the water. They're going to have to create mass casualty events to do two things. To the good people going to let them do it because they want the outgoing entity wants to create chaos. The incoming entity wants you to see what's going to happen if you keep following the dead entity. Right? Because if you don't believe Fat Mick Greasy, somebody got to show you. Right? So the mass casualty event is them showing you better pick the right side. Right? In order for evil to succeed, good men need do nothing.
Right.
Right? So if the good men ain't doing nothing because the people is being too stubborn, they just watching it happen. So you have to adapt that to a military strategy to success. You have to guide that energy of the apparent loss into a victory. You let your enemy blow itself up, and that way you don't have to do nothing but clean up the aftermath. Instead of don't let him blow himself up, try to stop him, and he might blow up 5 of y'all.
Right.
You know? So you got to be like, you send people out, Spirit send people out and say, tell them if they don't listen, they will suffer the consequences of nature taking its course that's being controlled by nefarious energy or people, depending on how you want to perceive it. It's the entropy that's bringing in the new birth. The people don't want to give it up, so nature is going to force them to run from it. So it'll implode on itself. It's a system that's broken. And it was a system that was broken that was used as a segue into the control over all of the people that the tribe's responsible for, knowingly or unknowingly. They don't even have to know they're responsible. All they have to know is they seen it happen and they from the land and they have nothing to say about it. The sealer is as bad as the stealer. Unless you can use it for your benefit somewhere, then you conceal your intentions until it's time to seize your opponent by his jugular vein. It's how you let them do it. You don't want them to do it. You warn people about it, but they're going to do it anyway because people going to think you're crazy. So when it happened and then they come back and say, I should have listened, you say, damn, I was hoping that you never had to come back and tell me that. I would rather get the, I'm so glad I listened to you before you come back and tell me I should have listened to you.
Damn.
Especially when I keep giving you receipts.
Hey, this is my next question I have for you, Rod, because this right here for the Patriots. And my Patriots, so how will they be useful when this action of this mass chaotic? Because a lot of those guys are military trained. They aware.
This is the reason we started with the oath, because many of the ones who was in the military, skin color don't matter, believe in their oath. Even once they discharge, they still believe in their oath. They need to know that the military is operational on the land because we've been invaded.
Right. Right.
And that the military is in control through the Department of Defense, and all of the military that's been given the authorization to use lethal force can only do it under the control of the National Guard, which means we've been invaded. Now they've passed a bill just a couple days ago, right? And the bill was to give military the authorization to use deadly force in support of Homeland Security teams. The police going to jail.
Yep.
The judge is going to jail and the lawyer's going to jail. And I'm not defending them, so no. All of them have titles of nobility, which is supposed to have been activated, the military branch, to shut the country down. Because you're letting a foreign agency run the land. But the problem is we didn't know we was in a status called occupation. Go to Google, Elder, and type in what does it mean to be an occupied territory.
I got you, bro. I'm gonna do it.
America has been an occupied territory. The corporation has branches. Shoot. Sticky at it, icky. You find it out? So the police traced back to London. I had to catch my breath. I was over here coughing.
There you go. Still. There you go, right there. Hold up. It says in international law, a territory. Who? Yeah. In international territory, it is considered occupied when it is actually placed under the authority of a hostile army. The definition of occupation and the obligations of the occupying power were initially codified at the end of the 19th century.
That means that's when they wrote it down, the General Agreement of Occupation in a world forum. So America was the land of the free and the home of the braves. Who is the braves and who is the free?
Right.
Right. We all been captured under this system. But if we don't recognize that we've been captured under this system, we're going to be victims to it of the fallen system. You're supposed to move yourself accordingly when the wisdom is clearly before your face. Right? Type in how to end occupation. Because now we know what being occupied means. Now we got to know how do a occupied country end the occupation. Colonization is global occupation. And they all spread out from different regions across the land that was controlled by a very specific group of people. And they coat of arms tell you who they are. If you know how to read coat of arms. So if they codify what occupation was by agreement, maybe they came up with a way to end occupation.
Here we go, right here. It says an occupation of a territory ends when the occupying power is no longer in effective military control and no longer performing the functions of government. Other criteria for ending of the occupation is the occupation population exercise self-determination. The occupation territory is reintegrated with an existing state. The rightful sovereign regains effective power.
Right. And this is what we doing, the collective tribes in the continuity of government process. When we end in the occupation, right? And this is why they surrendered certain people from their representatives, surrendered documents to us, and that's called foundational document. That let us know that everything that document represent is what they gave us back. We using the oral tradition. They answering in their paper tradition. By giving us the receipt is the surrender, is the raising of the white flag.
Go ahead.
Now we at the part of it where we so far victorious over the occupiers in the shutting down of the occupation that it's almost the final moments of disclosure, so that the rest of the people who thought we was crazy conspiracy theorists will be able to be like, damn, them some smart people.
Right. Right. It's pretty much game over. I'm trying to figure out how this hell this little dirt coming.
It's chess, not checkers.
Hey, this is what I was gonna ask you, Rod. So now that we know, okay, pretty much everybody should know the game, but it's still a whole bunch of people out here that still say, man, you know, I don't want it to go. I like it the way it is. They bots. They you know, bots don't want it to end. Bots want to go to the job. They want to be able to go to McDonald's and get them a little dollar burger, get to some fries. You know, they want to keep the normal routine. What do you say to these people that want to just Rod going crazy, the government going out? I depend on them. I get a disability check from the government, and you want the government going down, this and that. What do you say to those type of people? Go ahead.
Listen, the good thing about the government going down is to give us our wealth back. It's a restoration of the wealth back to the rightful owners, which is us. Right? You have what's called root tribes on the land, and you got regional leadership, and they don't never have to even see each other. They just fulfill their family function, and the benefit to the community connects them together by energy. And you use that to your advantage. It's like learning how to read the energy of the mycelium throughout the earth so that you can get all of the earth to be your brain. Because there's mycelium everywhere.
Man, this is a lot, bro. It ain't a lot. It's like it's kind of covering the stuff that I've been putting out on the Big Mama's banking system, breaking all that down. Because like we said, we got to land. We just needed the people's mind to break free from this curse or this spell they put us under. To think that we in this imaginary, illusionary Kansas type. We ain't in Kansas no more. We on Pandora type of world.
Well, we kind of is, but what it is it's like the horses downtown with the things covering up their eyes.
Yeah,
if you just grab a horse or just a wild horse and put that on his eyes, he's not gonna stay still. He ain't do that, but stay. He ain't gonna move because he don't know that it's time to move. He can't tell. But if you slowly close them blinds, but you stay in control of the horse, he'll let you lead him while his eyes is closed. They're systematically closing your eyes to what they doing, and they doing it in your face. That's a David Copperfield illusion. I use the reference of David Copperfield because we know that he was doing illusions because he told us he was. And a lot of people is familiar with who David Copperfield is and what his story is. And, you got other guys call themselves magicians like David Blaine, Chris Angel, right? Those are the wizards of old becomes the magicians of new that learn how to manipulate the frequency of the energy in order to exaggerate an effect. It alters what you see just by the perception of how they want you to view it. Nope, I did it already. Larry's birthright is the chairman of the board, which means that when the collective of chiefs give a report, he has to report to the collective the final report. But by them usurping them, he never was able to perform his function as the chief by informing the public of what the tribes needed to do next, right? Because he was incapacitated. Same with Angel Bay was the lawman. He could have put that into the public domain. He was a war chief. Still is, but he's what they call an angel of righteousness.
I see they still trying to usurp Big Mama's mineral rights in a kind of a slick way using natural disasters. Like you did the tape on it already, Rod, the organic wars a long time ago. Did you touch on that a little bit? The organic wars? Go ahead.
Look, the lithium was already part of the program to go get the lithium. They don't just give you permission to start mining after a flood. They just wait for the flood so that they can give you your papers to send you in the mine. Capitalism, capitalizing on the condition. They know it's coming because they know how to read the weather patterns and they know how to influence them as well. Most of the weather patterns that's been being influenced lately have been being influenced from outside the atmosphere. That means that it ain't no humans in control. It ain't no heart, but it's the same technology coming from somebody up there in the sky.
Black satellite or something.
Black satellite or something. A
Damn,
bunch of black atoms on that motherfucker. Yeah.
Yep. So, hey, y'all, drop your questions in the chat. We got a couple minutes. We'll take a couple questions, man. If you got any questions for Chief, man, drop them in the chat. If you want to show up some love on for the guy that asked, we dropped the cash app every like 2 or 3 minutes. So I just dropped it like a couple of seconds ago. I don't see it. Hold on, let me drop it again for that guy that asked. Yeah, man. So, man, this is pretty much coming together, raw. It's like the end. It's the end of all. I mean, ain't nothing really else to argue about with these guys. Run our shit. Like they robbed us of a goal, and then they made it a law. They made robbery a law, but then they go and get somebody 100 years for robbery. No robbery.
Listen,
armed robbery carry 5 to 99. 5 to
go,
99 years.
Go back to Google and type all law is commercial. All crime is commercial.
Yeah, I got you. I did a tape on it too.
We went over this before.
Yeah.
But we might have new eyes on the program right now.
Yeah, it's right here.
Look, I told you, everything that we naturally do, it's either got to be monetized or criminalized.
You just said it.
They can criminalize it, which also monetize it.
It says right here, all crime is commercial. I mean, all crimes are commercial and must have natural cause and be
Nature and cause.
Nature and cause and be prosecuted in the name of the people of the state as the real party in entrance, not the people of the state of corporation, the friction. Damn. Is right there.
Now they telling you the difference right there in the writing.
Right? The fiction and the corporation. And
now notice how they got the people of the state wrote.
Yep. All caps.
But now look at the one above that, be prosecuted in the name of the people of the states.
Right.
All lowercase.
Yep. All crimes are commercial in all caps.
Right. Because that's letting you know, okay, now, what do commercial mean?
Concerning with engaging in commerce. Commerce is a large-scale or organized system of activities, functions, procedures, and institutions that directly or indirectly contribute to the smooth, hinder distribution and transferring of goods.
Okay, the transfer, that's trade agreements.
Yeah.
How do you trade in human capital, right? If the humans don't know they're the capital.
Man, that's cold.
You put them in a state and you get a state of capital.
Man, that's the game right there, right? I probably have to cut that for a shot. Hey, say that again one more time for me, Rod, so I can get that one. Say it loud and proud.
You heard what I said.
You said that was a fire. That's a bomb you just dropped right there. They put people in a state and gave the state a capital. Man,
Yeah.
that's a
And the
total.
state is also a condition.
Dang.
And the conditions have to be controlled, as in climate control, which is your thermostat.
The one in North Carolina, I think it's still about the $5 Indians got control of that one. But I think the original land mass with the longitude and latitude, Mama Radberg got control of it now, the loaded titles. But they still, the Cherokee Nation
Look,
is the one.
you still got to remember you have what's called treaty tribes.
Okay, go ahead.
Treaty tribes don't even have to be real tribes. They just had to be recognized as a tribe by the existing occupying force.
Right.
Right. The occupying force can't determine who you is. They can only occupy the territory and try to stop you from reclaiming it.
Right.
Right. So the proper function of government for the people is to restore the law of the land, the great law. Restore the matriarchy. Go back to the law of the land, and then you push the admiralty jurisdiction out to sea. It's about legal standings, right? In black and white. That's the checkerboard, which is the chessboard, which is the Queen's land, which is the top of the globe, which is where she sit on her throne. Right? Ask them Aussies. They was always there. They don't have, the modern science gave everybody an out of Africa migration story and how we all populated the world.
Yeah.
Right? But that's not the facts of the matter. As each landmass emerged, the people emerged with it.
Go ahead, bro.
The same way as the trees just pop up out the ground. Where the seeds come from? You in a whole place that was under the ocean for 1,000 years. Now it dry up on land and it start growing trees. Same thing. We emerge. They call it evolution, right? But we call it materialization. We don't look at it like they look at it, but we use how they look at it to explain how they see it wrong, according to how we see it. So you got to flip everything back on them in the courts, right? Because the ball got to be in somebody's court, and it's a 2-ball game or a 2-cane ball. You figure it out. Just a racket.
Hey, Ross, somebody said, who do they notify when I'm not a part of this corporation? I know in the more science temple they used to make us do like a public announcement and in the newspaper and things.
Look.
File all this paperwork. Go ahead.
You don't gotta notify nobody. You gotta walk away from the fraud. Their system is the fraud. They the occupiers. Get with your local community and start forming your own community control so that you can control how your community is taken care of. By doing that, you're going to end up pushing national government out, which is the corporation. And then you're going to reinstitute state government, right? And then you're going to be collecting the capital instead of being the capital. You reverse it back on them.
Right.
You walk away from the fraud. In the law, it's called the abandonment defense, where you was going with somebody to commit a crime, a criminal act, and you decided not to go. You abort the crime or attempt to abort the crime, but for whatever reason you get caught up in the crime. You had no control over that. right?
Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
So if you ain't got no control over it, you can't be responsible. In law, that's called mens rea, the ability to be aware or to control your criminal behavior according to the confines of the conduct of the law. They tell you how to behave, but it don't mean your circumstances going to allow you to behave that way.
Right.
Right. So when you know a character, a trait, right, you begin to capture those traits of leadership. This is what all that you did a good job on the other day. I was checking you out doing on Raymond Washington.
Oh yeah, about the some of that stuff I got it. They got it blacked out in the FBI files, but I was able to see like read between the lines. But I saw that the Black Gorilla family, man, that's what really interests me. And then when you told me, I saw the part about the Black Gorilla family being tied to the Black Panthers, but it didn't just rang on me until you said George Jackson. Then I went and looked him up, and okay, I put it all together now. I see why they told Raymond Washington what was going on in the land, and that's why the FBI, when he got out in '79, they really was on him then, because his whole game plan was to bring back the Black Panther type of things, and that's what got him executed. And with Big Took and everything, you notice they both got took down the same year, around the same time. They got took in March, and then August they shot Raymond. So it's like they came at them, and then Operation Crash. Like I put it all together. Like with Operation Crash, everything's like everything lines right up. And then once I get to Chicago and talk about Jeff Ford and Larry Hoover, it's gonna be the same type of scenario. Really, it's the same type of scenario.
Well, every major city had those what they call gang task force units.
Yeah.
Right. They had a crash unit in Detroit called Crash, and they would do nothing but just be whooping us upside our head. Right. We remember the Crips came up at a time where the police is using their batons and they killing brothers, choking them out with that chokehold.
Right.
And then some of them got together, they filed a lawsuit to ban the chokehold. Then they started shooting them in the back if they ran. Right. And people kept saying, you shooting them in the back, but there's no cause for you to shoot him in the back. He ain't a danger to nobody.
Right.
Right. But they was operating off those bounty hunter rules from the Western days. So when you see the police gangs like the Rampart unit with the skull with the cowboy hat on, now you know what they're talking about. They're talking about the law of the West. Outlaw tribes. They have bounties on their heads. We don't want to believe that America declared we was their enemy. We didn't declare ourselves nobody enemy. We was minding our business. America came over here interfering with us. So now America got to go.
Oh, I said United States Corps. I'm like, America even apply to these guys. These guys are United Snakes of America. United States of the Corps.
So what you see is by letting the Patriots know that it is a organized effort of the military to interfere with a coup to take over the land that was spearheaded by George Herbert Walker Bush. At the spearhead of the organization, he put Obama's in office, he put his son in office, he put Reagan in office. He inserted himself under Reagan in order to insert himself into the presidency. Reagan never had Alzheimer's, but the Secret Service had Nancy giving him medications that kept him in a stupor, or else they was gonna murder him.
Right. Right. We got about 10 minutes, Rob. We're gonna take about 2 more. We get about here.
Look, everybody want to take the land back, but ain't nobody gonna want to work the land.
Go ahead.
We gonna want to kick people off the land, but ain't nobody gonna want to cultivate the food. Ain't nobody gonna want the burden of doing the holistic lifestyle of living off the fat of the land. Ain't nobody gonna want that. Only people gonna want that is somebody like me that already liked it from a little boy. We'll step out there because we believe in hard work, but the average person, that's feel too much like slavery to them, to own your own land and cultivate your own food and feed yourself off the fat of the land. Right? So everybody want to talk about getting the land back, but don't nobody want to talk about working the land. Because, you know, everybody thinking that the city, what we going to do about the city?
Right.
You ain't going to divide the city up and take people houses from them in order for, that's just retarded. Ain't nobody supposed to be homeless. The elders say you can be without a house, but you ain't never supposed to be homeless, somewhere that you can go to in a time of need. Right? And everybody supposed to have a central location that they call home. And that's where we didn't have grocery stores. We didn't have corner stores. We didn't have liquor stores. We had to make all that stuff because that was our culture.
Right.
But they came over here and want to mechanize everything, rapid construction, rapid distribution, and now they introducing this artificial banking system with this inflation tax incorporated into the nature of the dollar.
Right.
In order to diminish the value of the product that they stealing from us.
Right.
They stealing the value, they not stealing the product. So when we looking at it, we looking at we had the land, but all like everybody, I don't know one of my cousins that would have kept my grandfather land, but I would have. But his wife got tricked out of it by the sharecroppers because she had a house to feed and she ain't know what she was signing. And fraud vitiates all contracts. We already know they got the whole paper trail right down there in Magnolia, Mississippi and Macomb, Mississippi. They know what's going on. I don't get into a lot of the tribal disputes that my personal family go through because I want my understanding of the tribal culture to be so expressed that ain't no doubt he from over here. He one of us. He one of the original chiefs of the land come back once again to reclaim the land at the close of the age, the great jubilee when all debts are canceled. Right? And all taxes are suspended.
Never have it been made so clear.
That was dope, brother. I think it was an accident too, wasn't it? But fast for the people that look like us that ain't us, oh, they got a good one coming. First, they gonna get exposed, put on blast, and then turned loose to the mercy of the community. The rest of them gonna be food for the Anuna gods. Yeah, so we had a big mama system of child care, and we going back to that as soon as the people stop supporting these usurping groups that's using their participation as consent to control their life, and they don't even know they're surrendering control. All taxation is going to be ceased. The IRS is not a government agency. It had nothing to do with us. The maps might be what they call that the districts, because they was trying to set up the 13 banks was trying to set up 13 districts. And I think the tribes is going to go to 10 districts because you need 10 days to see the bay in the Moorish paradigm. So it's taking the tribal structures that was being usurped and using the parts that work and to make the parts that was suffering work better.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that they brought over here wasn't bad, and everything they brought over here wasn't good. But the good stuff was really good, and the bad stuff was really bad.
We got about 4 minutes, y'all. We'll take about one more good question for the chief, man. Then we're gonna get up out of here, y'all. We're gonna be back though. We got more bangers, more heat coming out every day. Y'all hit that like button. Like I said, if you want to show Chief some love, we dropped the cash app. We got it on the thumb. That's the right cash app for the guy that was asking. That's the right one right there. Be sure to like, because one got an S on it. Somebody created a fake one with an S on it. So be careful with it. It's it should say Rodney Haynes on rods, but it's the SIKA capital APE for the people that's asking. Yeah, man. So pretty much we're gonna come back on something else. But somebody said it happened with the prisoners because I know some people that what would happen with the prisoners after with all this
A lot of people have to get out of prison, especially next year when they be doing the celebrations.
Yeah.
Some of them motherfuckers we don't want out, but they probably been in there so long they gotta let them out. But a lot of the prisoners community, like long-term prisoners, is gonna need re-entry programs to reintegrate them into the society and to get them the resources they need to live the life they want to lead, that'll keep them from being criminals. Because don't nobody want to commit crime to survive. But when you put into a certain condition, you're going to respond according to your conditions. And that's why this was Patriot notice, because we got to realize everybody that's been over here in this last 150 years or so, right? You got a lot of immigrants that didn't amalgamated into the people of the land. Right? So now we have to have no respect of persons, because you have to defy every paradigm lock.
Right.
Which is those things that gives you an aversive feeling off the appearance of somebody else.
Right.
Right? Because all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And just because they don't look like you don't mean they won't look out for you.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's not about appearance, it's about what's in their heart. You could tell a person that vibrate on a good frequency from somebody who don't by the energy they carry with them when they come around. You just try to ignore it. I don't.
Martin Luther King said, judge a man by the content of his character and not by the color of his skin. And they said, bang, let's kill him. Man, that could have been in the Bible, man. We got to kill this guy. Got to get rid of this guy.
Yeah. All those celebrities winning Oscars passing for white. And the greatest role they ever played, they never won the award for it. And that was to play Caucasian.
Wow.
That's to be passing.
Wow. Somebody said this big one everyone's talking about? This big one. It's first time hearing it. This big one.
I don't know what he's talking about. Let's see. Oh, he got to be talking about the solar flare that's coming.
Oh, okay, the big solar flare.
Yeah, that's the upgrades in consciousness. It's going to first upgrade the consciousness, and then it's going to start upgrading the children. It's already starting upgrading the children, but it's going to elevate their upgrades. Only
Man,
reason it ain't going to work as fast on the adults because we fix into a mental paradigm and way of looking at the world, and the children not. So even though they'll be able to see your paradigm, they'll still be able to see beyond it, right? Because the new frequency will allow them to see a more expansive view of the world. You know, we want to take children around the world and see foreign places, but we don't want people using them for sex toys and food.
Right.
You know, you want to teach every child to create their best life. And the more people that know how to automatically build their best life by doing what they automatically love to do, the more everything will be harmonious. Some people just computer geeks. They just want to work with computers and be left alone.
Right.
You facilitate that in the structure of the family. You give him his little computer room. When he don't want to be bothered, he go in there and do tinker with his computers. Right? When he want to be bothered, he come outside, kick it, jump in the pool with the family, add a barbecue to cook out. When he get tired of that, he go back to his little to the little computer room, play with his computer some more. You know, and you know, people got to find the stuff that make their heart glow. Stop participating in stuff that make you angry and miserable all the time.
Right.
You sit there and be angry and miserable all the time, you can't enjoy your life. And that's living in hell. When you lose that much self-control and control of your life. You can have any life you want to. You just got to see how to get there. And your mind to help you get there. It's all in how you perceive the world that determines the outcome of what you generate. It's so free to be free.
Somebody said that question we just had up, they was asking, okay, what they do about business being that the corporation go out? Like how do they set up something where they can generate
everything will be sole proprietorships.
Go ahead.
Sole proprietorships will be under the jurisdictional domain of your family bank. Your family bank will become your financier in order to help you structure your business to be successful, profitable, and be able to reinvest back into the family bank to help somebody else and still live your lavish life or however you want to live. Everybody don't want to live in palaces and shit. Some people just want to live in a 3-bedroom house in the woods with a tractor, a couple of dirt bikes, a rifle, and a Bowie knife. And they living their best life under them conditions, and their family come out there to the barbecue, they good. Different people want different stuff out of life that's going to make them feel like they living the life of their dreams. The most people can live the life of their dreams, the more you generate and have it on earth. But the more people that's stuck in this fear paradigms, political satire, Hollywood dramedy, right? Then that's the slower that the building gonna fall. But that sucker still coming at an alarming rate. It still got to hit the bottom. The old system has to dissolve in order for the new system to activate. Once they tell you that the old system has been dissolved, and then we will be able to roll out how the new system is structured, how it will operate, and we'll be able to go to the grassroots and get the resources like fertilizer down to the root. That's the goal.
And on that note, you can drop the mic and walk off stage, bro. We got it on lock. We got this. Yeah, man. Look, I'm telling you, man. You giving us the game head on right here. I mean, if you don't got it at this point, I mean, we can't beat it over your head no more. We can't beat it over your head no more. I mean, we beat it over these guys' head long enough. Like it's just plain as day at this point, man. The game is up. The gig is up. Roll that curtain. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Pull that Wizard of Oz little bitty midget black little Jewish midget from behind that coat. You know what I'm saying? Little dirty Moorish Zionist Jew guy with a beard, and he's short, like 4 foot tall, puppeting everybody, and then telling you about the white man, the white man, the white man, the white man, and the whole time it's his ass. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, bro.
Think he slick.
Yeah. Kind of find out here a little short black joker they've been telling all the gold the whole time, little leprechaun looking joker. I'm telling you.
If people be forgetting that the government had programs sending people into our community, who in the hell was these people?
Right.
Where they get them from?
Go ahead.
They only sending me in as children, and their parents is the newcomer, and then they raise them up, and they kind them out of information and casual conversation, and they never know they telling nothing because they think this motherfucker they uncle.
Damn.
Now he go back and report back to the lodge what his nephew said. Nobody don't know how the police know all this information from the inside, and nobody know how he got there.
That make a lot
He
of
gets
sense.
suspicious and figure it out. They just gonna whack his ass.
Like what happened to Tupac.
Yeah. And the beat goes on. But all is fair in love and war.
We trade war stories. Outlaws on the rise, niggas out spies. Look at my eyes. We trade war stories. Outlaws on the rise, jealous because I despise. Look at my eyes. That might go over niggas' head. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you. You talking about the outlaw tribes on the land. Yeah.
The greatest strategist is figure out how to turn his war story into a love story so that he can get the woman at the end of the show.
That's right. Go ahead.
The woman was the goal.
Go ahead.
So you gotta go out into the world and conquer. And when you sufficiently conquer, your conquest give you the life you want according to your level.
Hey, we out, man. We're gonna make it hold you long. Right. Hey, we got 2 hours in the game. Hey, y'all, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, man. Like I say, I mean, who else is doing it? Never have it been made so clear. The Chief hey, I gotta roll this one back. I'm gonna roll this one back and watch it again and take some notes. Because everybody's complaining about me taking notes during the class. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it and take notes after and do
that was a message. That was a code flip message for me to trigger you. For me to make you bump straight.
Yeah.
That was done by I know who that was. It was your reaction was the exact reaction required in order for me to try to bump you back straight.
And then maybe somebody else needed that too, though, along with me. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody else.
We ain't doing this for us. We doing this as a tool to teaching other people how to perceive and understand and see it from another level.
Right.
But sometimes we got to use the real time experience. Because if you don't act the way you normally act, and then I don't tell you to bump straight, then nobody don't know where we going with this lesson.
Right.
But I come back and then I explain to you why to bump straight. And then it helps them to understand how to exercise the noble character if you got the noble blood.
Let's do it.
Everybody else is gonna go over their head.
That's right. Because a couple people did comment on what you said, and they said, yeah, that was some good stuff, Rod said about the taking a note thing.
You're supposed to take notes.
Yeah, Tahuti took notes. He ain't nobody calling it Tahuti. I ain't never seen nobody calling it. Like as far as like I'm talking about, man, articulate and just skill to just make niggas laugh and just get out of any kind of situation. Tahuti's the guy. You know what I'm saying? Uncle Tahuti's the guy. You know what I'm saying? I done seen that dude get out of some stuff. I'm telling you, man. Like he'll make a nigga. You can have a gun to this dude here. This dude will talk you out of it and make you laugh and giggle and shit.
and you end up putting the gun to your own head. I'm telling you, that's how Tahuti is. He's smooth, man. I ain't never seen nothing like it. He got his comeback lines are state of the art, and then they, you know, his comeback is state of the art. His comeback game. I'm telling you. All right, but we out of here, man. We about to take a nap, man. You know, like we don't sleep, we just take naps. You know what I'm saying? We about to go take us a nap. And we're gonna be back at y'all again with another banger. Hey, y'all go ahead.
Hey, I don't take naps or sleep. I just rest.
He just rest.
I be in some other dimensions doing some other stuff.
Yeah, right. Your body just rests on this side. Yeah, that's right. That's right. It says keep
I be still at work.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna get out of here, man. We want to thank the universe for allowing us to present this information to the public, and it's out now, man. So you spread the word, let everybody know what's going on the land, y'all. Chief Pontiac just put the public announcement out on to the Patriots on to be prepared and keep your eyes aware and keep stay alive and stay alert. That's what they used to tell us: stay alive and stay alert. You know what I'm saying? On this land, because they don't tell them what these suckers got, you know, with the protect the children. That was the original mission. Tahuti said protect the children. That was the original mission. So keep your eyes on the kids, man. Make sure we'll protect the kids. That's what this game is about. Save the children. We out of here, man. Peace. One love. Wadu. Free Dr. Malachi Z York. Free Larry Hoover. Free Jeff Ford, man. Free H.
We all political prisoners. Bring the Sada Shakur back home.
That's right. Peace, love, harmony throughout the boundless universe to all. Wadu.
Wadu.